Was a bit of a stretch, I'm sorry. There is no state-of-the-art equipment, the risks of ruining it in a fire are too great. We get by using human resources and the most common items available, respirators, fire extinguishers, and flame-retardant uniforms. Let's face it, the lives of the Inferni are not worth much. It's more important that we save the machines and minimize damage to the ship.
What traditions?
We have plenty of those, like the reminders.
Heinrich rolls up his sleeve, revealing a tattoo inscribed over an old burn mark.
When you survive a particularly hopeless accident, you get a tattoo on your scar. You can always tell an experienced Infernus by their ink. It's like a badge of honor of sorts.
Tell me how you got your reminders.
He points to a tattoo on his right forearm.
This one is from the time plasma leaked from the outer aft circuit. Imagine yourself clinging to the hull outside, thermal cutter in one hand and a magnetic clamp in other. Azure flames burst from the breach, the kind that can incinerate you in a second. All that separates you from death is a flimsy rope and a void suit more ancient than Holy Terra. And yet the price I paid was nothing compared to my comrades.
He slowly moves the augmented fingers of his right hand.
As for this one,
The look he directs at his left hand is full of bitterness.
I got this one in the ammo depot where my wife Elsinora died. There was a fire, and the flames were getting close to the ammunition. And I don't mean autogun rounds, these were macro-cannon shells. We put out the fire as best we could, but we were losing. Suddenly, Elsie took my hand, kissed me, and then ran straight into the blaze and activated the emergency blast door. We stayed outside while she vented the compartment.
Heinrich gives a tender smile, gazing at the smoke.
It was quite a story.
Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry for your loss.
He nods gratefully and takes another puff.
What shall we talk about?
Okay, that's enough.
Never let your fire go out, Lord Captain, no.
Heinrich hurriedly waves his hands.
That's just a stupid little Gildan joke. Seriously, if you see an Infernus next to a naked flame, run.
Alright. Let's see, Vox. It's the one full of cables.
A thin, pale woman stands out among the rest of the crew. There is a thick bundle of cables coming out of the back of her skull and disappearing under her ceremonial garment, and you see the grate of a quietly humming Vox where her mouth should be. The woman sees you and bows her head in a respectful greeting.
So
How may I serve you, Lord Captain?
What are your duties?
I am the ears and the voice of this void ship. I supervise several dozen officers and 3 times that number of support personnel. We receive, send, encrypt, and decode all incoming and outgoing messages through the ship's internal and external channels, and we also ensure clean communications and the optimal efficiency of the crew's Voxcasters.
Continue.
If you ever want to know what worries and concerns your crew are harboring, what your subjects are whispering about in local networks after their watches, and what their leaders are clamoring about over shortwave Vox transmissions, just come and see me. I will satisfy your curiosity.
Have the Vox spirits brought you anything interesting, lady?
Forgive me, Lord Captain. I have no information that would be of interest to you at this moment.
Your appearance is unique. You are a Voidborn, are you not?
My appearance comes from my heritage, generation after generation of people who spent their entire lives in the depths of this void ship. Neither we nor our ancestors have ever left our home, but the same can be said about many denizens of the Imperium's million worlds. We are used to the silence of the cosmos and the voices of the ship. There are thousands of us, but we dwell far from the Lord Captain's upper decks and remain unseen. We are the Voidborn.
Where does the word Voidborn come from?
Because we are the children born in the void between the stars, be it the womb of a traveling vessel, an orbital satellite, or a forgotten asteroid station. Low gravity, voyages through the warp, and the countless dangers of space travel, everything others hate and dread is second nature to us.
How does the other treat you? Okay.
As you wish, Lord Captain.
Connect me to the vessel's main channel. I wish to bolster the morale of my crew.
The Vox Master nods obediently and presses several switches on the device she is holding.
It is done, Lord Captain.
You address the crew with a rousing speech and hear your voice roll through the ship, reaching even the normally quiet corners of the vessel. When the broadcast ends, you hear distant shouts of approval.
That will be all for now.
I live to serve, Lord Captain.
Alright. Let's talk with Ablar.
Lord Captain?
Let's talk about things that may be useful for me as the rogue trader. Oh yeah, this is important.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
Outline the situation in the Koronus Expanse for me. What do I need to know and keep in mind?
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words. The Koronus Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels. Until recently, the Koronus Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Koronus Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse, and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Yeah, so that begs the question, why is the Inquisitor here? Who are the main players I need to be aware of the Koronus Expanse?
In the first instance, you should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Koronus Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness. Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Kalagos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them. If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbalaka Mission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall, and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces, and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Koronus Expanse.
So Kunrad, our previous master of Whisper, what can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight. We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the Von Valancius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake. If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery. He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps. As you wish, Lord Captain.
I like to know more about my seneschal.
As you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know?
So what were you doing before you became Theodora's seneschal?
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I'm still an officer of the Imperium. I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then, that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue traders' personal council. It was a difficult choice for me. But I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force. One who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the Expanse.
Leaving the Imperial Navy is far from easy. Why were you permitted to quit your post?
You could say there was no one among the naval command who was willing to impede the wishes of the rogue trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. The Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy. Contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world. And which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue. The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing, or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank.
The way you talk about Theodora, I'm beginning to think you were in love with her.
What? Lord Captain, any allegations of improper feelings or unsanctioned relations are utterly baseless and bordering on the insulting. Utterly baseless.
Touch the chord. Alright, do you have a family?
I am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11.
What?
My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children express any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
Thank you. I have no more questions.
Of course.
It's gonna be my first officer, so you may call me by my first name if you wish.
I thank you for the honor, but I must decline. As a former military officer, I believe in the importance of order in all things, including the chain of command. You are the Lord Captain, my direct superior. I am not prepared to address you in any way other than as regulation dictates.
I must take my leave. Until next time, Seneschal.
Lord Captain.
Alright. That's the map. Let's talk with
Jocasta Sauer.
Proud to serve the dynasty. Lord Captain.
The Master-at-Arms snaps to attention, ready to carry out your order.
How did you come to serve on my flagship?
I come from the noble Sourback family of the capital world of Darganus. I dare say that our house is renowned for its loyalty and strict adherence to the law, and the members of my family have been your faithful enforcers for centuries. I am honored to be the 6th Master-at-Arms named Sourback to serve on the ship.
Jocasta speaks the words with unmistakable pride.
You are wearing Imperial Navy armor. How did you come by it?
I inherited it from the previous Master-at-Arms. Like the esteemed Seneschal, he left the Navy to serve Lady Theodora. He brought quite a few officers with him and established a tradition. Upon the death or resignation of an enforcer, his or her armor would be passed on to a fellow officer who had distinguished themselves in the course of their duties. I was awarded armor in this way in my time, and upon the death of my predecessor, I inherited his personal armor.
So what is your opinion of me as Lord Captain?
I do not doubt the astuteness of your decisions. But beyond that, I am impressed with you. I have heard about the brutal punishments that you have endured, Lord Captain.
She looks away, but before she does so, you notice a strange spark in her eyes.
Your tenacity deserves admiration.
Oh boy.
There is fire in the black depths of her gaze. If she could, she would devour you whole with her sidelong glances.
I seem to be detecting something more than mere admiration.
Then what about awe?
She stares at your neck, right at the scar peeking out from under your collar. Her pupils dilate, and she licks her lips involuntarily.
Thinking about what you have suffered leaves me trembling.
Alright, calm down.
Of course, Lord Captain.
She forces herself to look at you again, and this time, you see only cold impassivity in her eyes.
I want to know what you think about the other officers. No, I want to know more about your service, yes.
I am ready to answer any questions, Lord Captain.
What are the Master-at-Arms' duty?
I am responsible for upholding safety and order aboard the ship. Guard duties, patrols, finding and punishing troublemakers. In addition, my enforcers ensure that the crew follow all directives and carry out their tasks properly. As they say in my family, a servant who shows disobedience today prepares a riot tomorrow.
There are thousands of people aboard this vessel. How do you maintain order?
2 words, Lord Captain: suppression and fear. The base nature of the rabble cries for an iron grip, lest they give in to their animal urges. We have many well-tested measures to prevent it: random night searches, preventive interrogations, corporal punishment, and executions. Of course, the laws of the ship equally apply to the officers. We eradicate the canker of insubordination wherever we find it, without mercy.
Well, I hope you will not repeat the mistakes of the previous Master-at-Arms.
You can be sure of that. He was a fine enforcer, but suffered from the fatal flaw of trusting his associates. I myself lack that weakness and trust no one except you, Lord Captain.
Well, let us change the subject.
Yes, Lord Captain.
That's it for now.
Proud to serve the dynasty.
High Factorum, let's talk. This one is the
The corpulent man in lavish clothes
HR
goes
and
before you,
Logistify.
not without difficulty. A servo skull whirs over his shoulder while the fingers of his augmented hand drum against the sheaf of papers he is holding, and he regards you with attentive interest through the lens of his magnifying implant.
Greetings, your lordship. Janrys Danrock, at your service.
Remind me, what is it you do on my ship?
As the High Factotum, my duties encompass anything that might enrich you and your protectorate. I see to it that suppliers deliver all shipments on time, that our partners do not weasel out of their promises, and that all servants remember that the Emperor's grace can only be earned through toil for the good of the von Valancius dynasty. I also make arrangements to ensure that our hold receives less than thorough inspections by port customs officers, and I find buyers for whatever you wish to sell.
Go on.
And, of course, I ensure that the Protectorate's worlds prepare their tithe in a timely fashion. Let none ever say in my lifetime that the dynasty has disgraced itself with a late payment of the sacred tribute.
Just so you're aware, Treasurer, in the past my duty was to ensure that the governor of every world under my watch paid the teeth without fail, and even a smaller shortage was punished in full. Now we're not gonna do this. So how did you come to serve?
I come from Darganus, your lordship. I have been a subject of your dynasty since birth and have always strived to be of use to the great rogue trader. Alas, it was not my fate to be the primary heir of my own family, due to my being 15th in line for the title, so I decided not to stand in the way of those behind me in case they attempted to shorten the waiting list at my expense.
15th in the line of the title, oh my.
Janrys lets out an almost kindly chuckle.
While my brothers and sisters schemed against one another, I studied the exact sciences and mastered bookkeeping, the greatest art of the Adeptus Administratum. I must admit that the accumulation of wealth, something one can control, is far more exciting than hunting, carousing, and the other traditional amusements of my noble peers.
What was it like working with Theodora?
Oh, now that's a tricky question, your lordship. Do you ask it of everyone, knowing they risk losing their head should they let slip a careless remark about your predecessor? I shall put it thus, working with Lady Theodora was never boring and always profitable. The Imperium has billions of subjects, but very few do what they love and what they are best suited to. I would say Lady Theodora was one of the fortunate ones. She was a model rogue trader, and she surrounded herself with those who excelled at and loved their work. Hers was a rare talent indeed.
I want to know more about the people who buy our plunder.
Of course, Lord Captain. Who interests you, exactly? We most often deal with the followers of St. Drusus, the Explorators, the Casbalica Mission or, Emperor forgive us, the Fellowship of the Void.
So what do the followers of St. Drusus acquire from us?
The Drusians still hope to bring the Koronus Expanse into the warm embrace of the faith, just as their flock hopes to receive the aid of the Drusian missionaries. Each crate of food, shipment of clothes, or box of medicine marked with your seal is a sign the rogue trader himself believes in the sect's future success. Reverend Hieronymus is the first among the Drusians and is most often seen in Footfall's grand atrium. A gloomy fellow, but some almost believe him to be a saint.
Tell me more about the Explorators.
Members of the Explorator Cognizance Fleet, which has been roaming the Koronus Expanse for a good while now. Omnia knows what they are hoping to find, but their acolytes regularly show up on inhabited worlds, seeking bits of sacred knowledge, tracking down mechanical relics, and sniffing out xeno artifacts, if truth be told. Supposedly, they want to save the ignorant rabble from corruption. A tech priest named Opticon 22 does business with us on the fleet's behalf. He can be found at the docks on Footfall.
Opticon 22, that's an interesting name. I'm interested in the Casbalica mission.
Masters of the cold trade, immoral criminals, and notorious crooks to the last man. The mission is but one branch of this mafia gang that has taken root in the Calixus sector. You can do business with them as long as you take the necessary precautions. They are led by Vladane Tokora, who recently appointed himself Liege of Footfall. Of course, he is a trusted ally of rogue trader Winterscale, but he will not refuse you, another of the Emperor's anointed. If you wish to talk to Vladane, look for him in the Liege's palace on Footfall.
What is this Fellowship of the Void?
Janrys emits a laugh like gurgle.
A pompous name, is it not? In truth, they are a gang of pirates who are forever squabbling over loot and territory. However, some of their little flotillas need supplies, or can take awkward cargo off our hands without asking questions. Of course, there is always a risk that these scoundrels will change their mind and attempt to board us instead, but so far our macrocannons have managed to keep them in line. They say Riza Calvaria speaks on the Fellowship's behalf. The Adeptus Amicicus on Footfall is rumored to be her favorite haunt.
Why are we giving away our spoils to these people in the first place?
To profit from them, of course. Most of the things you will find during expeditions are complete junk to one such as yourself, but the less fortunate and affluent servants of the Emperor think them treasures, especially when they are bestowed by the great rogue trader himself. Drusian fanatics and pirate cutthroats, Casbalica dealers and explorators, none will refuse our help in these dark and trying times. And there may come a time when we shall be the ones requiring aid, and it would be beneficial to have allies willing to provide it.
Okay.
Certainly, Lord Captain.
I wish to bolster my retinue with skilled fighters. No, I don't, not yet. My retinue and I are in need of training. Let's get training.
I will show you our sparring chambers at once.
Select the character to reset. No, I don't want to reset. Skills and everything.
The high factotum Janrys Danrock greets you with a cool smile and the merest hint of a bow.
Pleasure to see you, Lord Captain.
Enough.
How may I be of assistance?
Enough questions for now. Okay, I wish to bolster my retinue with skilled fighters.
Rest assured, there are people of the most outstanding talents among the thousands of your crew. I will contact the overseers at once.
Ah, here you can add followers. No, I don't want that. I want to go with the game NPCs. Let's talk with Idira.
The tall, middle-aged woman stares straight ahead, her eyes vacant, as she rubs the implant at her temple. Her collar is undone, and one of the clasps is on the verge of falling off. Sensing your presence, Idira turns her head toward you and offers you a crooked smile, even as her eyes look right through you.
Idira, about your abilities.
What are you talking about, Lord Captain?
You're a psyker. Psykers are only granted the right to live with the Emperor's blessing. Have you ever been to Terra?
Look, Lady Theodora couldn't care less if some eggheads measured my brains or not. It's not about the seal on your forehead, get it? It's about what's in your gut, if it's rotten or not. My gut's stronger than the adamantine on this here ship, and my implants are better than the ones they put in you on your Terra. If they weren't, I wouldn't have lived as long as I have.
Where do you come from?
Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Koronus Expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best.
Tell me about Lyra.
It's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win, from poison to psychers. I haven't been there in many years, but there's nothing for me to miss. But here on the ship is a different story altogether. I saw more wonders in my first year serving Lady von Valancius than I'd seen in my whole life on Lyra. Like my first journey through the warp, I was in bed for 3 days. I felt like supernovas were exploding in my head. I only found out later that I'd gotten off easy. Just through the bulkhead in the bay next to mine, a whole team turned into... Look at me rambling on, Lord Captain. Pay no attention.
By the way, you never finished your story about your first time crossing the warp.
It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. But if you want to hear about the time I melted everyone in the bay next door, well, I just don't really want to go into the details on that one, all right?
What did you do before you came to be on the ship?
Oh, I embroidered wall hanging